It is way too easy right now to say things in the national media like Brock Purdy's a system quarterback, or he's a product of his surroundings. And I woke up thinking about this today because we don't know if Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams are going to play on Monday night. And I thought about how those two things that people say actually bump right into one another. If you're a system QB, that means Kyle Shanahan can scheme anyone open. If he can scheme anyone open, then it shouldn't matter who plays. The system should be what takes over, correct? So if he's a system QB, then he'll still play great on Monday night.
Well, if he's competent in the system, then yes.
If he's a product of having great teammates, then he would crater on Monday night if he doesn't have three of his best teammates with him. So I actually have a more pointed question about this thing, but right now, which one of those do you think is actually driving that Brock Purdy commentary? The idea of system, which is the coach, or teammates, which is obviously all the guys.
And that's what I'm fascinated by in terms of Monday night, because if McCaffrey doesn't play or is limited, same with Deebo, same with Trent, I think we get a more definitive answer, because if Brock throws to Ray, Jawan, and Brandon, if he hands it to Jordan
Mitchell
and Eli, if he has a depleted talent squad around him and Brock Purdy goes out and throws for 270 and 2 or 3 touchdowns, whatever it is, and they win the game, and he gets back to his usual 30-point outburst, well, then it's not the system, it's Brock Purdy. But if Brock Purdy goes out there and he doesn't have the same level of talent around him and he struggles and they struggle, well, now you're looking at a quarterback who maybe needs these security blankets around him. If Brock goes out and has a game like he did against Cleveland, against a much lesser defense, and the Niners only put up 18 or 19 points, then I think you can rightly look at Brock Purdy and say, man, maybe he does need to have these guys around him.
Your phone calls are always welcome, 888-957-9570. The text line is open. The YouTube and Twitch feeds ready to go. The chat's there, and you might want to get over to YouTube, especially today, and take a look at what our very, very different and awesome surroundings here at Fieldwork Brewing Company in San Leandro look like. So check it out. We'd love to chat with you there on YouTube, and hello to our YouTube audience, many of whom I know are on their way to show up here today. So here's where this is leading for me. I think that for many, we have set up a scenario, or maybe / arrived at a scenario where Brock Purdy can't win. He can't win. If he goes out, there is one hypothetical here, which is that some portion of Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, and Deebo Samuel are either not available or not themselves. If they go out there and they are less or unavailable, and the 49er offense does not look good, well, now it's, you're simply a product of your teammates and your surroundings. If they do go out and play well without those guys, it's, wow, this Kyle Shanahan system is really something. It works no matter who you put in. Is there a scenario where he could go out and play well without some of his top teammates, where he actually ends up getting credit for it?
Of course. It depends on how it looks. Now, if they go out there and Brock Purdy has a quiet game, yet, Jordan Mason does McCaffrey-like things, and, Jawan Jennings steps in, or Ray McLeod steps in as a receiver and does what Deebo normally can do, then you'll look at Kyle Shanahan's system and say, well, the system didn't miss a beat, and Brock was 14 of 21 for $180 and 1 touchdown. Brock was able to manage what they had. If he goes out and Kyle Shanahan looks at what they have and says, you know what, Brock, we're going to need you to do things differently. And I talk a lot about the personnel, 21 personnel. If they go to a lot of 11, which is 3 wide receivers, or if they go to 4 wide receivers and no running backs, which I think they might do at some times when they have to throw the ball. If Brock Purdy goes out in those formations and throws for 325 and 3 touchdowns, he gets credit. So it's not as easy as, it's a lose-lose for Brock. It depends on how it looks to me.
It's not as easy as saying it's a lose-lose. I agree with you. But I do also go, didn't we already do this? He went out. We already led up to a game where everyone was like, okay, You've done X, you've done Y, you've done Z. Do this, and we'll be convinced. And that was a week and a half ago on Sunday night with the Dallas damn Cowboys coming to Levi's Stadium.
Right.
And he threw 4 touchdown passes, all of them out of the pocket. They won by 32 points, and the world moved on with the idea that, okay, we can finally stop questioning who this person is and how the 49ers are going about their business. And I get it. I understand. We overreact to whatever we most recently saw. But here we are 7 days later with, okay, now is there something wrong? Is there something wrong? You know, he doesn't have the access to all of his teammates. He threw an interception. He had a bad game. The 49ers lost. All of that stuff comes right back after one game.
Right, but I'm with you in terms of what you said Monday about sample size. If the sample is too small to call him good, the sample is too small to call him bad. And I'm not saying that after Monday we definitively think one thing or the other about Brock Purdy. I do know this. He's never played a game without Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. So if he goes into Monday without Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, if he really struggles or if he really plays well, that'll be something you could look at as either, hey, Brock was able to overcome not having an MVP candidate, or, geez, Brock really struggled without having an MVP candidate. And you can say the same thing about Trent Williams. I don't think that he's played a game without Trent Williams yet.
No, I don't think he has.
I don't think Trent missed a game late in the year. But, Again, I'm not trying to, throw a blanket over the entire career or make broad sweeping statements about Brock Purdy. I'm just saying this is a new hurdle. It's not a higher hurdle. It's not a make or break game for Brock. I just think it's an interesting game in terms of if he doesn't have these guys, how does it look? How does Kyle Shanahan make it look? How does Brock Purdy play without potentially the three of the most important people on your offense?
Well, I think what you just said there is kind of what I'm interested in, which is this time, if you're playing without those guys, you can plan for it. Doesn't mean it's going to go well.
Sunday you couldn't really plan for it.
Sunday it was unplanned. And now you got to do things on the fly. The 49ers, I'm sure, know right now, not definitively, but they've got an idea of where those 3 guys sit physically and what the likelihood is that they're going to play or be limited or what have you when the practice week for them gets started in earnest tomorrow because it's a Monday night game. So I think they've got some sort of an idea and they can plan around it. But I guess I would ask it to you this way. And again, largely, A, are we talking about a hypothetical? And B, everybody is going to be entitled to however they want to view this, obviously. But I am always interested in the way we react to things. So what if I ask it to you this way? If the 49ers are missing some or all of those guys, they come out on Monday night and they play very well. They win the game 27-17. Brock has his normal whatever. Give him 240 yards and a couple of touchdown throws and a touchdown run for Eli Mitchell, something along those lines. If he does that, who do you think the national media the next day is complimenting?
Brock Purdy.
Not Kyle Shanahan?
Well, I mean, Kyle Shanahan to an extent, but nobody's going to look at Kyle Shanahan in a one-off in that way in terms of, boy, Shanahan really schemed the hell out of that game.
I'm not
sure. Boy, Ray McLeod and that jet sweep.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so in terms of the broader scheme, unless Kyle does something totally different.
It was after the Cowboy game that Shannon Sharp made his comments that Brock Purdy was a system quarterback. It was after the Cowboy game.
Right.
4 out-of-the-pocket touchdown throws.
Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
And he's out there trying to advance his brand.
Of course. I'm not sitting here saying it's the end of the world or it even matters. But I do wonder if we have created a box where Brock Purdy can't be great based on a narrative, can't do this, that, or the other until he wins Super Bowls. Is that where we have to go before we can even change the conversation? Because we have built a box where if Christian and Deebo are there running, then it's them. And if they're not there, well, then it's Kyle and his scheme. What is the path to Brock Purdy busting this narrative?
Well, you know the path, and we can talk about fair or unfair, and you just mentioned it, and the path is to get to the ultimate spot where you win the ultimate game, and then that quiets everything. And it is draftism, and it's a number of other isms that you have coined and that we've talked about on this show, but because he was the last pick taken, he's always going to be looked at a certain way until he gets to that point where he quiets all of it, which is by winning the Super Bowl. And think about Jimmy Garoppolo. If Jimmy would have beaten Kansas City in the Super Bowl, if they would have won that Super Bowl, it wouldn't have mattered that he is, and I hate to say injury prone, but he's injured again. So whether he's injury prone or not, he's had a long career that's been beset by injuries. He's got two injuries.
Two injuries this year.
Two injuries.
He already missed a game with Aiden O'Connell earlier in the year.
We used to do that bit. I'd like to bring that back. Two owies inside the
one
same
season,
body, one body.
And it's only week 6.
Correct. And so
6.5.
all those narratives change if they are Super Bowl champs. So for Brock Purdy, he's going to have to fight against this albatross the entire time. I do think if he doesn't have Deebo, Christian, or Trent, and he goes out and plays well and wins a Monday night game on the road, I think he gets more respect and more credit than you think. And I don't want to ruin a beautiful day here at Fieldwork with this bit of news, but rise and shout. The Ruiz quarterback rankings are out, courtesy of The Ringer.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not going to like it.
I didn't like him, but I didn't like him last week. I didn't like him last week when things were good. Why would I like him now?
You know the expression, stock up, stock down?
Sure.
We like to play Brock up, Brock down.
Is Brock down?
Down, down, down.
Way down?
Like,
you want to do this now or you want to hold it 10 minutes?
Let's do it now.
Go ahead.
Let's do it live.
Go ahead. Tell me where it is. I haven't looked at him because I don't go there.
According to quarterback guru and noted football expert Stephen Ruiz, the new quarterback rankings are out. Patrick Mahomes continues to be number one on the big board. He's been number one the entire time. Mark Willard.
Okay. He scored 19 points last week. Go ahead.
He's number one.
Yep.
And nobody can put asunder. Yeah, Allen, Jackson, Herbert. Trevor.
I'm sorry. Say that. No, don't roll through that. What? I'm sorry. What happened now?
Allen.
Yeah.
Josh.
He scored 14 points on Sunday. Go ahead.
Lamar's up from 4 to 3.
Okay, Lamar.
He had receivers who actually caught the football, as I do my Brian and
Exciting.
Palo Alto.
Yep. He was in London and was fine.
Justin, don't call me Sherbert.
I'm sorry. Who?
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
Down from 3 to 4.
Justin Herbert fell from 3 to 4.
3 to 4.
Now has a losing record and played probably what objectionably viewers called the worst game of his career.
Yeah, just
7. He also didn't score 20 points.
He's down a spot. What do you want my guy Stephen Ruiz to do?
I'm just processing information. I'm an elite processor of information.
Yes,
I'm just like Brock Purdy. Go ahead. Yeah.
T-Law is 5. Trevor Lawrence. Stafford is 6.
Okay.
Don't sleep on Dak, up from 9 to number 7.
Dak moved up because he scored 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Geno Smith is down from 7 to 8.
Geno Smith is top 10. God.
Jalen hurt so good.
Oh, because he scored 14 points and made a beautiful decision there at the end of his game. All right.
Tua's up from 11 to 10.
Okay, Tua, they put up 40-something. All right, I get that.
Burrow went from 13 to 11. He's getting healthy.
Well, and he scored a whopping 17 points. Okay, keep
You're going to
going.
love this one. Tom Brady.
I know. That's his little joke. Okay, so that's fine. That one doesn't even bother me.
Calamari is
Kyler Murray, who doesn't play football.
Well, we prefer calamari, and if they have it here, I'd like a nice hot steamy plate.
That would be great.
With some aioli. Cousins in a Monday night showdown is 14.
Okay.
Jared Goff, sneaky MVP candidate.
Jared Goff should be higher.
Than 15.
Jared Goff should be way higher. Like putting Jared Goff below Geno Smith is hysterical.
Ryan Tannehill holds at 16.
Okay, also hurt and also terrible. Go ahead.
C.J. Stroud soaring up to number 17.
Right, the rookie. Okay.
Derek Carr comes in at 18.
Fantastic game for Derek Carr. Loss.
Here's one that'll hurt you. Russell Wilson
Russell Wilson.
Sliding to 19.
Got it. His own team would bail on his contract if they could. Go ahead.
Danny Dimes, I'm too hurt to play.
Daniel
Holds
Jones
at number 20.
Holds at number 20. Also didn't play football.
Deshaun Watson with a subscapular shoulder issue.
Also didn't
Shout
play
out Doc
football.
Pandia.
Okay.
He holds at 21.
What else?
I mean, we may never get to Brock Purdy.
Apparently we won't.
Baker Mayfield is at 22.
Baker Mayfield, who made fun of himself in his own press conference, saying that was as bad as he could play.
But Corkle Jones, with one of the worst interceptions of the season, is down to 23.
Mac Jones, who is involved in an active chess-playing tank by Bill Belichick. Go ahead.
Brock Purdy, down to number 24, lost 2 spots.
24.
On a,
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that Steven Ruiz does a great job of being talked about on the radio each week.
We gave him 5 minutes.
I know, and we say it every time we do it.
Yeah.
But it is. It's like a drug. It's like a car chase on the news.
Hey, man, can I get a dime back at Ruiz?
Can I get a little shot of Ruiz?
Yeah, you got any of that Ruiz, man?
Yeah.
I can say that because the boss is not around.
Listen,
let me get some of that Ruiz.
I'm sure that it sounds this way, and let me dispel. Like I don't lay awake at night worried about what Steven Ruiz, Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, or anyone else has to say about Brock Purdy. I get it. I more look at the whole thing as a collective. And there is a collective incongruity right now.
Look at you.
With regard to, I said it slowly before the beer comes. Incongruity going on right now in this discussion. And I do think that the conversation we had earlier helps us arrive at one of the reasons why. So, sure, there is a way to explode any narrative. You need to go win. You need to go win the whole thing. Go back to Brady versus Belichick. There were plenty of people who would have been like, Belichick! Oh, it's Belichick! And then Brady goes to Tampa, wins the Super Bowl, and it was a slam dunk. Your argument is over. It's a wet newspaper. It's been torn in half. You better throw it out. And so when Brock Purdy gets the 49ers a division title again, when he goes through the playoffs, and if and when that goes well for the 49ers this year or next or whatever, because you know my great saying, it is Super Bowl or try again next year. The hats are still on the way. But once he does that, then it mostly, by the way, goes away. But because of what I'm talking about, and maybe this is one of the things I should have said off the top, I think we've reached a point where even if he wins the Super Bowl, he's not going to get the credit we think he's going to get.
He will.
I don't think so. People have won the Super Bowl before and been called game managers. You know the list. Everybody always whips out of their back pocket, and they go, but Dilfer and Brad Johnson and Joe Flacco.
Jeff Hostetler.
Is he going to have to win 2? Because we've created a box where if his teammates play well, it's them. And if his teammates are not there or playing well, it's Kyle. Where is, and I mean this now, I know you think it's there, I don't.
Yeah.
Where's the avenue for Brock to kill this bug?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
What's in the box? Is it Brock Purdy? Is Brock Purdy in the box?
He's not.
There's 2 boxes.
The box is the narrative.
Right. And the
box
one
is what
narrative
people
is
say.
He's surrounded by unbelievable talent.
Yeah.
And the other box is you've got the QB whisperer and the laminated play sheet. I do think that if he goes out Monday and plays without those guys, and we don't know if they're going to be out or limited or whatnot, but I do think that Brock Purdy can continue to change the narrative. He's already changed the narrative by the very fact that he is the first Mr. Irrelevant to throw a pass, let alone complete a pass, let alone throw a touchdown, let alone win a game or 10 games in a row. So he's already exploded through the ceiling of what the expectation was for him to get to the point where he's given the credit. Maybe he has to win Super Bowl MVP, or maybe he has to win the MVP, or maybe it's as simple as him going to Minnesota without Trent and Christian and Deebo and putting up another 30-burger.